Hey there, podcast listeners. I'm so excited to introduce my friend Sparsh Shah. I met him at a Calspur event. He was keynoting, and I knew that I wanted his story on this podcast. It's a little different than most of our episodes. Sparsh is a musician, world record holder, just an amazing young man who has really used social media to completely transform his life and impact the lives of others. And he's going to talk about that today. You're probably going to want to take notes. So if you're listening in the car, it's okay, but you might want to grab a note card when you get a chance. We're just going to talk about his condition and how he really got on the scene and went viral with an Eminem song. He's even going to perform on the spot, some of it. So that's really good. We're going to talk about, the courage to share on social media and dealing, some advice for dealing with the haters. And he's got kind of 3 steps for that. And then we're going to dig into what he's doing now, which is really putting out a lot of music, which is cool. You're going to just learn so much from this episode. And I think really be able to utilize this in regards to your connections with kids and this opportunity that we have at our fingertips because of social media in a good way to impact the world. Now, I just want to take a time out. You know what? If this is your first time ever listening to the Mastering Social Media for Schools podcast, welcome. We are so glad you're here. Usually we are talking to a school communicator from a school district. Today's a little bit different, but if you're here, I know that you are committed to growing and trying new things and continuing to push your storytelling bounds and the way that you can serve the world. And so you are among friends. I'm glad you're here. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Now let's first jump in to our K-12 PR tip. All right, today's K-12 PR tip. I was just in a school today and I had an agenda of what I was talking with my interns, and I had to take some pictures and some videos in a classroom. And I started to walk out of the building and I overheard from a music room some kids kind of singing and some clapping, and I just knew there was joy happening in there. So guess what I did? I stopped exiting the building. I turned around and I went into that classroom and I got my camera out. I got it out in a vertical format and was able to capture these kids. I'll link the video in the show notes so that you can see it. But I just posted a little reel, and it happened to be a brand new teacher that just started in the district just within this last couple weeks. And wow, the connection and everything. I don't know how the video is going to do in regards to reach and engagement, but I have a feeling it's going to do pretty well. And so my tip for you is this: don't miss the story headed to the story, okay? Or headed to the next meeting or, on the next assignment. Make sure that you're always aware and you've got your phone at the ready, that you can capture those moments that just happen, because those are the moments that mean so much to our community. They don't get to see it because they're not in the schools every day. Okay. So just make sure that we take and, stop and smell the roses. Well, for us, it's stop and take the picture, stop and shoot the short video. My video, I think, was 26 seconds long. Okay. Plenty long to be able to really highlight and capture the excitement and the engagement and the learning and the participation that was going on in that classroom. And so I want to just make sure that you always are ready to share those moments as they happen. And now I'm really excited to share with you a friend of mine, Sparsh. Let's get started with today's episode. Sparsh Shah, welcome to the podcast, buddy.
Thank you so much, Miss Andrea. Hi, everyone. So blessed to be here.
Yes, I am excited. So I've got Sparsh here, and I met Sparsh at the Calspra event. It was last spring that we were together. I remember one day it was pouring rain outside, and we were trying to go find a restaurant, but you were one of the keynote speakers, and we got to chat a little bit out in the hallway. And then I'm like, I need to get you on my podcast. So, Sparsh, please take some time to introduce yourself and just tell me a little bit about how social media has truly transformed your life.
Yeah, definitely. Hi everyone. My name is Sparsh Shah. I also go by the stage name Purhythm, and this is the symbol. So super quick. It just means it's not a gang sign. It's like live long and prosper, right? Like Spock, and then
Yes.
you have the peace sign, and then you make it a dove, and that's what it means. Live long and prosper in peace. So I just say that when habitually when I say my stage name. Um, I am a singer, a rapper, a songwriter, an amateur music producer, inspirational speaker, Guinness World Record holder, philanthropist from New Jersey. And yeah, social media has just, it's really interesting because for me, I can talk about this professionally and I can talk about this personally. Because professionally, I if you remember me saying in my Calsper speech too, right? Like if I was born even 50 years ago, I would not be here right now today. I would not have been in Calspra. Like it's just with someone with my condition, the amount of barriers that would have been in society those days, social media has just completely destroyed those. And so being able to go to 9 different countries, for example, to speak and perform and being on all these TV shows around the world and news channels and all of this stuff, it's because of, going viral and going viral even because of all the years of active posting that I've done of my career since I started. And that's all through social media, with the support of my family and yeah, the passion. So,
So yeah, not many people can say like world record holder and all of the, you're a rapper, a music performer, a speaker. I think Sparsh by far you're the most famous person I've ever had on the Mastering Social Media for Schools podcast, which is super cool. So why don't
oh,
you just take them back into just really your story? How old are you now, Sparsh? And then when did you get started? And kind of just talk a little bit about what that looked like.
yeah. So right now, by the grace of God, I am 21. And I've been, into music ever since I can remember. I mean, my first inspiration was the music that my parents used to play in the car, on weekends. And I mean, in the same vein, my parents were the ones who discovered me. Because as soon as little old me started, trying to correct their pitch errors, they realized, like, oh man, this guy has a deep relationship with music. And they're like, we have to enroll it. So I started with piano, broke my arms once or twice, couldn't play, had to switch lanes, brittle bones were my vice. So I started with North Indian classical music, then I learned the Western side. On my wheelchair, I would sing and ride. First performance when I was 7 was my staircase up to heaven. Competitions, trophy cases, no ignorance, no scared faces. Wrote my first song when I was 10. Since then, I've been writing with no end. I have not bent to society. That's not what I was meant to be. Got my big break with Not Afraid, then I put out a cover album. High rose the stakes with every show I made, harder than the average could fathom. Globetrotting, never stopping, ere my death arrives. I'm still climbing above with the wings of a dove and the roar of a lion, but I'm still realizing. I don't know why I felt
That
like that
tells
was
your
a nice little,
story.
yeah, yep. I felt like I had to pop that verse out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys, we're going to make sure in the show notes all of Sparsh's uh or Pure Rhythm, all your
Okay.
social channels will be linked. You certainly went viral at what age with your Not Afraid by Eminem?
Yeah, I believe it was like 12 to 13 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's about 8 years ago or so. It's 2025, so that might have been like 2017 or something. Do you think?
2016.
2016. Okay. And tell us about it. Like, how did the YouTube channel, like, was it on YouTube that you shared that video?
So with that video specifically, I had gotten into Eminem, and I think this also ties into my stage name Pure Rhythm because I mean, I grew up in, a family where it was like I was punished for saying heck once. So Eminem, whoa. But uh I, told my parents, I'm like, look, I do want to do this clean. I want to do this, uh in a way that inspires people of all ages. I think that is part of the reason why I came up with the stage name Pure Rhythm, aka Pure Plus Rhythm. I want, everyone in every space to be inspired by what, I bring with music. And yeah, my parents were cool with it. I basically rehearsed that song hundreds of times, or like played it, listened to it, and then sang it 100 times. And then I went to my friend Pratik Shah's studio to record it. And I still remember, we recorded the song, and then we had like three iPhones, one on the front and two on the side. And yeah, we were just, it was just one take of the whole performance. Uh, Although, we recorded audio beforehand, and yeah, it was just super fun at the time to really get into it. We didn't really like we had a small hunch it would go viral, but the way it hit was just so surprising because, I still remember one night it having like 440-ish views on YouTube. And I wake up the next morning and it's 72 something thousand. And then I think by the time I sleep that day, it's anywhere from like 100 to 150,000. And it keeps just going up and up. And I mean, the way it hit was surprising. And yet at the same time, I knew kind of exactly why. Because my dad, who I lovingly call my daddy Jer, he sent that video to basically everyone he was ever in touch with. And I think one of his childhood neighbor friends saw the video, liked it so much he posted it on a Reddit thread. And
Okay.
on Reddit, the YouTube video blew up. So there was definitely a method to the miracle. There was a method to the madness. But yeah, it was just and then all of a sudden, maybe going on BBC and then Little Big Shots and then all of these crazy just TV and radio and news channel appearances, and I mean the rest is history, and it's humbling.
Yeah. So you mentioned in the lyrics that you read that you had broken both of your arms and couldn't play the piano for a while. Can you describe to everybody listening and some of them may be watching on YouTube, but what is your condition just so they can understand?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have osteogenesis imperfecta. The way that I break it down to people is osteo, right? Bones. Genesis, in the beginning, creation. Imperfecta, just take away the A and you get imperfect. So the creation of my bones is imperfect. And the way it's imperfect is that, especially in my case, it's actually not that my bones are not as strong, but it's like you have the perfect concrete but you're just laying it on wrong. Like the structure is faulty. And so my bones are weaker than usual, and they're weak to the point that, I use a wheelchair to get around because I can't even stand without, like literally something to lift my weight off my feet. Um, so, yeah, that's my condition. But, uh, I used to tell people that, God closes one door and he opens another, and that door closed was, you know, my ability to walk, and the door opening was my voice and my mind. But when COVID came around, I actually had to write an essay about my disability, my relationship to it. And I came to realize, I think Nick Vujicic put it really well, which is like turn your walls into doors or like something like turning something into windows.
Okay.
It's like, whoa, what if I had a window the whole time and I didn't even realize there was a pane I could like switch up to open it. Like I thought it was a locked door, but it was really like a window. And even if I couldn't open the window, like I can at least see through it. And
Hmm.
so in that way, this physical weakness of mine has become perhaps one of my greatest strengths.
And not only can you see out of it, but other people can see into you. And that's what you've really been able to
Yes.
use social media to do and then impact millions of people with your story and with your gifts. And so I just, I think a lot of us listening and we are in the business of social media for schools. So we're dealing with students who sometimes we want to say get off social media, but it can get a bad rap, but it's also very powerful in ways to make a positive impact. So what kind of tips can you share? I know you do some speaking around the world to different audiences. What kind of tips could you share for youth or even adults of using social media to impact the world positively?
Yeah. Um, oh man, there's so much we can get into. I would just say that I guess from a personal perspective, because I feel like, if social media doesn't have a positive impact on you, then I think you're gonna shy away from using it to positively impact other people. So, really quickly, I would say that, two tips that have really helped me are like, number one, well, this is in some accounts I've done this, so it's like a don't do what I did thing. And
Okay.
some accounts I thank God haven't done this. But it's like, you know, if you can center your follow list around like the absolute most motivating things. And I mean, even motivating things or like wholesome content is great too, but at the same time you can get addicted to that. So if you can follow like if you can watch content that actually gets you to stop scrolling, and like for example in 2024 I was doing like a bunch of covers, mostly hip hop, and I started thinking about just that. um I don't want any of my fans to feel guilty for like binging my content and then being like, oh my God, I just wasted 3 hours of my life watching Sparsh's videos. So, so I was like, how do I like, keep it engaging and get people to like stop scrolling? So, I remember in like one video, it was like Keep Your Head Up by Tupac, for example. I did like a 1 minute cover. So I was like, you know what? Okay, in like the last second of the video, I would have like text saying like stop scrolling and do this. So for that one, it was like stop scrolling and share this with the woman you love the most. Or like, another time it was If You Want Love by NF. So I said stop scrolling and tell someone how much you love them. Or like when I did Ghetto Gospel by Tupac, I was like, now stop scrolling and make peace with someone you have a grudge against. And I even remember literally just yesterday, I was binging on some wholesome content. And it's like this is the cool thing, right? Like we have so many priorities, but I mean, right? This is the interesting thing about distractions. It's that, right? Most distractions are things that are good, but just not of the highest priority. And I realized I wasn't alone because at the end of the video, the person who I was watching was like, now stop scrolling, get alone, and just tell God everything you're thankful for. I was like, wow. I was like, thank you for like people who make chain breaking content. Um,
Yeah.
so I think that's so important.
Oh,
Uh,
totally.
it just fills your cup. And then when you can't pour out of an empty cup.
Yeah. Well, and it can be used in such a positive way. And I think being
Yeah.
authentic is so powerful. But it can be hard because you're opening yourself up. And I think that you had a lot of positive feedback, like when you went viral, but you had some challenging, not so nice feedback as well, right?
Oh yeah.
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 So,
Yeah. I've gotten horrible hate comments. I think you remember too from the Calsper speech. Like I had shared like a whole like slide of some of the you know, biggest hate comments I got on my Not Afraid cover. And it's funny that you mentioned that because from the very beginning, actually, my family had opposition putting me out in social media so young. Like a lot of their, friends, their community members were like, why are you exposing him at such a young age? Like, especially because of his disability, there are a lot of people who are gonna hate on your kid. So like, don't put him out there so young. But like, they still did, and props to them because if they had not done that, I wouldn't have, I think, understood the dynamics of hate, especially internet hate. But at the same time, I really do think that it is the years of consistent posting or like active posting in the years leading up to Not Afraid and like the other things that made me viral that without those consistency, whether you want to believe in the 10,000 hour rule or something, a variation of that,
Yep.
without all of that, I wouldn't be here.
Right.
So, like, huge props to them. And I mean, for me, I would say for hate, it's like three things really stood out to me, or like three things have really helped. Which is, number one, my haters are real human beings. Like, it's not just that everyone's entitled to their own opinion or their own feelings, but they also have their own hopes and dreams and sorrows and joys. So, you know, I love too, when I go on comments and because I feel like nowadays it just breaks my heart seeing that, we're looking at these screens as like walls of anonymity, but they're actually portals of personality. And so, like, when people are, actually civil and kind on the internet, um, it brings a smile to my face. And, for me, it's just remembering that this person could be absolutely like pooping on me over the internet, but that's okay. Like, you flip the you flip the bird at me and I'll flip the peace sign at you. I'm not saying that to be the bigger person, because that's ego. I'm saying that because I really want peace for you.
Right.
Second thing would be that, well, quite literally, there are more who are for me than against me.
Yes.
Um, and for me, I think it's incredibly humbling too, because I mean, popularity is also smoke. It's here one day and it's gone the next. So I remember you were just calling me famous earlier, and I was gonna say I'm not famous, I'm popular. Because who knows how much people are gonna praise me tomorrow or admire me.
Mm-hmm.
But even if I had more haters than fans, and I can imagine that's how people, a lot of us start out, a lot of times it's my fans who are replying to the hate comments. So it honestly kind of frees me too. I can sit back and also be silent. And that is okay because in other words, like I've got an army
Mm-hmm.
of love, of people around me. And
Yeah.
that's humbling. And yeah, I think like I was saying earlier about praise, my ambition is greater than my adversity, and my purpose is greater than my praise. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. So that was your second one. There's more for me than against me. Did you have a third one a third tip for dealing with haters?
Again, like I would just say the ambition being greater than
Okay.
if your ambition is greater than your adversity and your
Yeah.
purpose is greater than your praise,
Okay.
that's what keeps you consistent, I think.
Yeah. You're doing it for a reason more than anything else. And, I kind of had a question of, is going viral the goal or does it just kind of happen? What would you say to that question?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Yes, it definitely could. Because like I mentioned, right, with Not Afraid, there was a method to it all. There's a reason that it became viral. So I think, if you're just going head first into it and you have no idea what people like you are doing, or you have no idea about how your target audience behaves on social media, then you're, just casting a net and hoping that you're casting a net where there's no fish. I guess if that makes sense. Or
Hmm.
like, yeah, it's like or like you're looking to make a feast in the desert.
Hmm.
Whatever analogy you want to use.
Right.
Uh yeah, but at the same time, also no, because you know, the, even though you've done all your research and that'll make it more likely that your videos become hits. I mean, virality too is something that's in one moment and gone the next. And I think more important than anything is like when you get viral, keep the momentum going instead of trying to get viral in the first place. If you have momentum and no virality, I think that's better than being viral and then not having momentum after.
Okay. Yeah,
And
that's good
yeah.
advice. I just have to tell you, I wrote down, you've got a lot of great sayings. I mean, being a speaker, but we look at these kind of computers or social media as walls of anonymity, but they're actually portals of personality. And you have certainly used that portal to showcase your vibrant, personality. You don't let a wheelchair, bind you at all. You've got a lot to share with the world, and I think it's so great that you've been able to do that, and certainly, like I said, impacts so many people. So, just I just wanted to say I was just in a school today, Sparsh, and I was going by a classroom. I was there for something else, and I was going by a classroom, and heard these kids singing and clapping with this teacher, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get this on video. So I took a little vertical video of it so I could use it as an Instagram and Facebook reel, and it was just like a peek into the classroom. And it happened to be a brand new teacher, a brand new music teacher that we have at the school. We haven't even really formally introduced her at all via social media, but instantly you could see that connection that the teacher had with the students, and the students were having fun, and they were trying to do a song faster and faster with arm and, feet motions and all of this. And it was like, what a testament to just sharing the story. And so, most of my listeners are doing social media for a school district. And I think it's just important. Yes, viral can be fun. And maybe you have a soldier coming home and it's going to surprise their son or daughter or brother or sister at school, and that may go viral. But like you said, the everyday storytelling is what really matters. And we have that ability every single day. There's amazing stories and things that deserve to be shared around us every day. We just have to share it, right?
Yeah. I totally agree. Especially because um as you might remember, like in the Caliper speech, I was talking about consistency. And recently I've just been kind of thinking like, man, all right, maybe you don't post every day or every week or even every month, but like if you, yeah, like what if real consistency is not so much about being constant so much as it is about being just, yeah, open to those moments, that just that moment that you mentioned. I'm like, yeah, like that's something where if that happens in any school, you've got to whip out your phone, you've got to take a video, you've got to post it, obviously get everyone's permission,
Yep.
but yeah, you post it because that is that, yeah, it yeah, totally, I agree.
Powerful. Hey, do you want to do just a snippet of your Not Afraid for us right here on the podcast, or are you not ready for that?
Yeah, no, I could do it, I could, yeah, I,
Just
oh
just
yeah.
let's hear a little bit, and then they can listen to the whole video. We'll make sure we have that linked in the show notes.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, all right. I'm not afraid to take a stand. Everybody, come take my hand. Walk this road together through the storm, whatever weather, cold or warm. Just letting you know that you're not alone. Holla if you feel like. All right, quit playing with the scissors and blades and cut it back. I shouldn't have to rhyme these words into rhythm for you to know it's a rap. You said you was king, you lied through your teeth. For that, curse your feelings. Instead of getting crowned, you're getting capped. And to the fans, I'll never let you down again. I'm back. I promise to never go back on that promise. In fact, let's be honest, that last tribute CD was aired. Perhaps I run the accents into the ground. Relax, I ain't going back to that now. All I'm trying to say is get back, kaboom, blow, cause I am playing around. around. It's a game called Circle, and I don't know how. I'm way too up to back down. But I think I'm still trying to figure this stuff out. Thought I had it mapped out, but I guess I didn't. The stupid black cloud still follows me around, but it's time to exercise these demons. These eye haters are doing jumping jacks now.
Holy cow. Right on spot. I didn't miss a word. And I also can tell why that went viral. But oh my gosh, so powerful. And if hopefully you're watching this on YouTube right now because just to see you come alive when you perform, Sparsh, it is really something special. So, um, can you tell me what tools or any kind of apps or software services that help you create some of your social media content if people are listening and maybe they have a young person or if they're even themselves like, hey, I have a gift that I want to share with the world too.
Yeah.
What kind of apps or tools would you say are needed?
Mm, as far as needed, I would just go as far as to say that maybe the only thing you really need is maybe just like a good quality mic, depending on what
Yeah.
you're doing. And I'm a musician, so I'm gonna have like the whole studio rig. Like I'm in the studio right now, the home studio. Um, but yeah, like even if it's just a good quality mic and you've got like a basic software, it could be like Audacity or something. Um, yeah, like that's enough. And then, most iPhones or even like the Samsung, the Google Pixel phones, like our phones are just that good
Mhm.
at like shooting content. So I feel like there's so much we can do nowadays. Um for me, like I will, use Logic Pro X because again, I'm being a musician, that's like a really good software for music production or like recording vocals or anything like that.
Okay.
um, if I'm on Zoom, for example, and if I was like actually singing with music, like, I probably would have like connected my mic and then I would have like OBS and I think I had like a reverb plugin from online that I downloaded. And then that way, my voice has that like reverby,
Yep.
almost like, voice of Godish kind of thing
Yep.
when you're singing like a live stage.
Yeah.
um, that, Final Cut Pro is the video editing software we use.
Okay.
And that's very helpful, especially when it comes to like multicam, videos, when you're, synchronizing, a lot. Usually what you do is like you record your vocals first for like a music video, and then you play that track back on like the loudspeakers as you're recording the music video, and you sing at the same time so that your lip sync properly. And then you just take that, on Final Cut Pro, you can just very easily like sync audio with like you click the audio track and you click your videos and you say sync the audio to each of these videos. And then it's very easy to like splice and stuff.
Okay.
Um, so those are some of the things. Um, I would also just honestly say that there's so many great like native features, like TikTok, the way that you can create videos and make them interactive, the
Mm.
way that you can like schedule posts on YouTube, and that way you don't just have to bulk create, you can also bulk publish technically. And like the fact that you can collaborate with people on posts on Instagram. Like I just learned that you can collaborate with more than one person on a post on
Right.
Instagram now.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Right.
So having all of these, like even just knowing the native tools front and back, like if you were gonna buy it before you even bought anything, I would just be like, get to know those tools because they're getting better every day.
Yeah.
And um,
I was just thinking I should probably ask because when you ask somebody to collaborate with you, they don't have to accept it. But even like our shorts that we're going to do out of this video, like on Instagram, I could collab with you and then you could publish that and it helps the other person because it gets content for their followers. So yeah, that's so interesting. I love it. And I think, if you're going to do this, very professionally like you are, there are some tools out there, but like you said, a microphone and your phone can take you a long way.
yeah, really, that's all you might need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, tell me a little bit more about your motivational and inspirational talks that you do. I think, do you mainly target those towards students, or how does that work?
Yeah. So honestly, I would say that uh you know that I've gotten to speak with like educators in a few
Mhm.
places and also schools in a few places, but I speaking in schools is something I would love to do so much more. And I guess I won't go too much on the tangent, but man, like I feel like as much as, all the support I've gotten from people who are like older than me or like generations above me, I feel like my calling is the strongest towards my peers. Um, yeah, and I would like in different ways, like in 2021, I got to do, I think it was my fourth TEDx appearance, and that was no, third. And that was fourth? Fourth. Numbers don't matter at the end of the day.
It's a lot. I'm at zero right now, Sparsh. I'm at zero.
Oh no, it's all good. No, exactly. It's not the point. The point is not to flex. Um, but yeah, I got to speak at TEDx for the Indian Institute of Management in Ahmedabad, India. So actually, that was also like about my social media journey, what I learned from it. So that's one way I got into speaking in the academic space, and then that actually next year. I spoke for the first of two times at the Rare Disease Symposium hosted by the University of California, San Francisco, and the Ipsen Foundation. And then in 2024, actually, did a TEDx talk at like a high school in my area, JP Stevens. I have to get on posting that though. But yeah, that's like more direct ways. In indirect ways, I mean, almost all the time, like we are blessed to like we get like messages from people who've like, hey, like we just saw your TED talk, like your TEDx Gateway 2016 talk, that what I did in Mumbai. Like we saw that in our school today. Or like I showed it to my students at school today, which is like amazing. And then in 2018, actually, the what do you call it? There's this or event called We Day. So that's for like youth, and then the United Nations puts that together. So I was, honored to speak there, and that I found out very recently. Probably, maybe shouldn't say where because I don't know how final it is yet, but I heard that it's getting put in a textbook.
Mm,
So
awesome.
yeah, which is like, I don't know, man, it's huge. It's huge. And so those are just some ways that even though I'm not, everywhere at once, I'm blessed that the message has been able to reach a lot more, of my peers. And again, I want to do so much more. So if anyone out here, you know, wants me to like come and share my story and if there's any way that I can bring some love to my peers, in schools or colleges or universities or anything like that. I'm here. I would love
You're
to.
here for it. Where are you from, Sparsh? Are you from California?
I'm in Jersey.
Oh, you're in Jersey. So I met
Yeah,
you in California and you just mentioned California. So then I'm like, are you there? So you literally travel across the country and around the world. So
yeah.
um, tell me a little bit just before we kind of wrap up. Tell me what you're working on now. Like what's next for Sparsh? What's kind of been your kind of purpose over the praise? You're driven by purpose. What are you working on now?
Right now, God willing, I want to put a whole lot of music out this year. Um, like I've got music that I've been working on just completely, for myself, by myself. Obviously, with my family and other people backing me up. But like I've got solo stuff I'm working on. I've also got a lot of songs that I've been working on with collaborators over the years. I guess at this point, it's just I'm a creative volcano. I've just been dying to explode. Um, so this year, like God willing, is the year. Like, in fact, just a few days ago, or maybe like last week, right from the time that we're talking.
Yeah.
So in by the time that we say this, this will definitely be out. So, in January, putting out a song called Limitless People with a fellow Berkeley student, Sydney. And in I'm also planning to do more collabs that I've done with Berkeley friends and with just friends from other circles who are amazing musicians, and yeah, also solo stuff. And I mean, I know I'm repeating myself, but I think this
Yeah.
year is the music year for me. uh
Okay.
just so excited because this is stuff that I've been telling people. I think my mom is always saying, like, I think at least 10 years it's been since I've been telling people I want to put out an album. So it's a long time coming,
Now
but
you're gonna make it happen. 2025. Well,
yeah.
definitely we'll be watching for that. When it does drop, you let me know because we'll make
Definitely.
sure to promote it. You're gonna get a lot of fans now.
Oh,
Um,
appreciate that.
so where would be the best way to kind of stay connected to you? Is it on YouTube or is it any of your social channels? What would you say?
Yeah, I would just, whether you want to connect through socials or not, I would just take everyone straight to my website. I would take you all
Okay.
there, which is just my name. So Sparsh, and then my last name Shah.com. So I'll say that again, Sparsh.com. And the reason I mention that is because I have literally all my social media linked to the ribbon on my website. Like, LinkedIn to Snapchat.
Okay.
So any way that you want to connect, or if you want to email me, you can do that too. Um, yeah, like I would love to definitely connect, and yeah, yeah,
Awesome.
I appreciate you even asking. And
Yeah, absolutely. We'll make sure to get everybody there. Sparshshaw.com. We'll have that in the show notes. And then just before we kind of sign off, what would you say is your best social media tip? We may have covered it already. And again, just thinking that most of my audience is doing social media storytelling for schools, but what would you say would be your best tip?
um, I would say it's probably the consistency.
Yep.
And again, by consistency, I don't mean constancy. I'm just talking about, you know, I wish I had another C. I'm a sucker for alliteration. Um, but
True speaker form, Sparsh. It's good.
I appreciate that. But yeah, like consistency, I don't know if it's so much as constancy, so much as it is just about receptiveness and just being like, hey, whenever the moment comes, I know it can be difficult too. Like, obviously, if you're like, and this is not, for an educator, right? But like, if you're on vacation, you're not gonna like post everything that you did on vacation while you're on vacation because that ruins the point. Um, but even if it's like, all right, as soon as you get home, you got no excuse to not post it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so it's like whatever can bring other people to see the authenticity of what you're doing, whether you are an educator or you're a student or you're, not either of those. You might, business owner, or, whoever you might be, whatever kind of influencer. Because I also really feel like, I mean, we always talk about how I see like posts where it's like the woman has like a horribly made bed, and I think like maybe like they're like she's arguing with her partner and like the other side of the video, but on the like when she's holding up her phone, it all looks totally polished, and she's like wiping off her mascara or like whatever it might be, right? And I think that's just so accurate. I but I feel like if we can get to the point where we're posting our story as it unfolds, if we can use social media as a home video camera more than a movie camera,
Hmm.
I think the more of us that do that, the more social media is going to become a place where we rediscover um not only the beauty of authenticity, but also the beauty of imperfection.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, I know I just heard us I'm speaking with the superintendent coming up and he's just like, you got to remember it's not just the highlights, the awards, it's the everyday things that are happening in our schools that we need to tell. And that's kind of what you said, home video versus that movie camera. Let's give people an authentic look at what's happening, obviously in a safe and, legal way that we have to when we are doing schools. But Sparsh, I really appreciate hanging out with you. I think we could talk for hours and I could definitely hear you perform, but everybody can jump on over to sparshshaw.com and listen up. And if you are interested in having Sparsh come visit your school or your organization, he is such an inspirational speaker. And I think obviously social media is a tool that we can use to change the world. And it can be used in such a positive way, um, because you're living proof of it, Sparsh. And so thank you for leading in that effort. And you can definitely get in contact with him if you want to check out his website. So thanks so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you so much, Miss Andrea. Thank you, everyone, for
Yes.
taking time to, just hear us talk. And yeah, I'm super excited for what the future holds for us all.
Yes, absolutely. We'll keep being inspired by you and everybody listening. You keep inspiring others with the content you share. The stories you tell are so important. We'll see you next week back here with another fabulous guest. So, bye-bye.